All right. What else do we gotta do yet? Come here, Piggy. Well, and that's why I disagree, Gomez. That's why I made my point so clear, Gomez, because I agree, man. That's the same idea we were talking about with walkthroughs. People want that instant happiness of, I'm winning! And they don't think about the long term. This game won't last me as long, and I'll be bored sooner than I would have had I not opened this walkthrough. But they just want to finish it. Just be done with it. Say they won. Look, I'm a wiener. DG, I did not want to cheese that Deathclaw, but I do start to feel guilty when I'm streaming, and I know that I'm wasting so much time. Like, you didn't even need to kill that Deathclaw. Deathclaws don't even drop anything worth a damn. I was on a vendetta. Nah. Nah. I just thought of something I needed and now I forgot. Oh, I need bees. Do I even know where another beehive is? There were some way up here. Yeah, way over there's two. Ugh. You'd think there'd have to be a beehive on that island. I didn't do a very good job. Oh, there's one. Alright, that's at least on the way so we can double dip here. Drop our bits off. Not sarcasm. I mean, honestly, I honestly looked at wikis and shit a lot more when I was streaming or when I was playing video games casually. But now that I hate to use this term forced, that I'm forced to play video games, but now that I stream video games 7 days a week, and I am sort of forced to play more than I would on my own, I've realized, why did I spend all this time making games shorter? Because all I did then was whine about how I can't find a good game I want to play. So take your fucking time. Figure it out on your own. Have fun. But I do think walkthroughs are still good for when you start to lose interest. When you start to feel yourself slipping, you start to think, man, I'm getting burned out and I'm not going to figure all this shit out. Then I do open my walkthrough. And I'm like, here, let's see this shit I didn't do. That I would have never done anyway. Which is better, claw sail or snakeskin sail? A snakeskin says a more durable sail. I don't know that it's the fastest, but it definitely lasts a long time. What's my view on weed? Why do we gotta get into all these heated topics? I don't care what you do. As long as you don't force it on me. As far as my friends that smoke or drink or drug or whatever the fuck they do, again, I don't care. As long as it's not something that's affecting our friendship. I don't like people, for instance, the worst one for me is people who can't hang out without drinking. Like they can't go a night without drinking. They just can't have fun without it. If you need an aid to have a good time, we probably won't be friends. Take it easy, Kim Jong. And it's just because drunks are obnoxious to me over an extended period of time. I like a good sober conversation once in a while. What do I think is the best dessert? I'm personally a huge fan of lemon meringue, but I've just got a weird fascination with lemon meringue, and I know that I'm in a very small group of people. Oh yeah, I mean, I had a few friends growing up that were that way, where they'd come over and be like, yeah, let's hang out and play video games, and like 2 hours into the video games, they'd be like, dude, I'm sorry, I gotta go get beer. And then they would just have to go get drunk, because they cannot enjoy their time without it. And that's okay for you, but it's not okay when it's affecting me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, one of these guys totally respawns. Just so you know, for those in chat who care. One of the knights respawns at the gate. I've just confirmed that. Oh shit, it's dark. I don't have grass. I do have this mining helmet, and it is Sparky Sparky good time. Okay, more than one of those knights respawn. Holy gears. I don't think the weed is as bad, though. I have a lot of friends who are high all the time and function pretty well. You can still have a decent conversation with them. Hoping we can be friends and go hunt bears. I mean, probably not. I forgot how amazing the headlight is. I also forgot my fucking bug net. God, I'm a shit brick. Do I myself occasionally smoke weed? I mean, I wouldn't even call it occasionally, because I've smoked pot, I think once, as far as I can remember, once in the last 10 years? I would call it very, very fucking rarely I smoke pot. It's usually when I want to go to sleep. Last time I smoked pot was PAX or TwitchCon. And I didn't feel good because I got PAX pox and I wanted to go to bed. Yep, it's flood season. The bees come out in the rain? I'm gonna be super mad if the bees don't come out at all in this season. Okay, yeah, I thought I said I smoked pot once in the last 10 years. Sorry, that was my like I just recently, it was TwitchCon or PAX Prime this year, was the first time I had smoked pot in 10 years. Since before I went to jail. And even then, when I was selling, like, I've smoked less than 12 times in my life. Just don't enjoy being fucked up. It's not something that makes me happy, man. I don't like pain meds. I don't get into it. I'm pretty happy with who I am, and I don't find myself happier under the influence of anything that I've taken so far. Do I keep it personal? No, not really. I'm not. I mean, it's a long fucking time ago. It was an important part of my life. It's the only reason I talk about it a lot is because it was a very important part of my life. Like, a lot of things happened because of it. All killer bees. God damn it. But no, I'm not really embarrassed of much. There's not really any point to be, right? You did it. What for then? Intent to distribute crack cocaine. Actually cocaine, but it was crack. I'm not gonna be able to get those bees done in time. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. The teleportato is ready. I'm just preparing my inventory. You take everything you have with you through the portal, and you get to keep the stuff you pre-built. Nothing happens if the water level maxes out. Just increases the rate you lose sanity. The cans that I drink, Arizona RX Energy. So like a tea, an herbal tea with extra bullshit for energy. My felony is hidden, or is not something that I have to admit to. That's what I should say. I do not have to claim I have a felony. Ever. My felony is only visible in the eyes of the law and the government. So I can't be a president, I can't be a police officer, I can't, you know, those kind of things. But as far as on a resume, I do not have to admit to my felony. I got what's called HIDA, Home Youth Trainee Act, right? Home Youth Trainee Act, yeah. Because it was my first ever charge. I didn't, well, I had first ever felony. And I was 18 and living at home. I mean, I've got 32 years and they're not going to be worthwhile on the next character. I might as well save myself some sanity. What's the point of using the Teleportabella? It lets you generate a new world and swap characters, taking your inventory with you. When you feel you've just gotten bored with a map, you can move along. It'll also let you get some of the limited loot multiple times. Lightning bugs. The big one in Reign of Giants was the horns, whatever they're called. Horny hornies. Need to make a pirate hat. I really want to be prepared when we go. This season sucks, but it's not that bad for us. Where the oh, they're under boating. That's right. It always confuses me. One silk, one rope, one bone. More shame about shooting a cat box? Again, I mean, it's not necessarily anything I'm proud of, but I don't think there's any point in hiding it. They are things I did, and they're things that the stories, things that happened in my life. I don't think there's any point in hiding it, because they are a big part of who I am and who I've become. As fucking lame and cliche as that shit sounds, it's true. If I would have started streaming at the time that I was selling drugs, I would be a 100% stream for dollars. I would be doing everything in my power to try to make this a lucrative money-making opportunity. Because that was the person I was. And I realized, after being in jail, that I didn't really care about that as much as I thought I did. Where'd my banana? Where'd my bananas go? I never ate them. I guess they rotted fast, huh? let's also build... Just because I haven't played with one in Ice Maker. I have this pickaxe, it's almost dead, so we can make a quick thermal. Am I going to talk about how I shit in front of another man again? I've shit in front of men before. It's not something I enjoy doing, but yes, I have. I don't know that I talk about it that regularly. Probably do. My bowels seem to be a regular talking topic. I don't think jail is as much of a problem if you really want to get into rehabilitation. I don't think jail is as big of a problem as the court system. The fines and penalties, and I'm not pro a lot of decisions they make there. It's a money game. It can be very hard to recover from making a mistake. Very, very hard. Cost me over $10,000 to spend the time in jail I did and deal with the probation I did. And the fines. Which, when you're trying to get somebody to get, you know, not off their feet, but get motivated to change, try to become a better person, it's sure a hell of a lot harder when they're fucking broke. And they're struggling. And they're living paycheck to paycheck. As soon as I drop my umbrella, the rain comes back. I think jail is not a great punishment, but it's a suitable punishment, and it does help change people. The problem is they then get out of jail and can't afford to survive a legitimate lifestyle. Especially now that the laws for things like drug offenses have gotten to the point where it's pretty much all probation. It's all fines. It's all punishments of that nature. It really doesn't help the situation. It's a lot harder to expect an addict to recover when he's got nothing to live off of, nothing to live for. Nothing good to look at in his life. We know how hard recovery is. We're gonna need you to pay us $12,000. One that's always bugged me because it hits close to home is drunk drivers. I'm totally against drunk drivers. I hate them with... they make me angry. But taking away a drunk driver's ability to drive, instead of taking away his ability to drink, pisses me off. Because there are not many places in America, the majority of places in America, you can't survive without driving. I mean, when you're under 21 years old, they turn your license horizontal. Do that to a drunk driver. They're supposed to check your ID everywhere you buy booze anyway. That would keep people from suffering and make them more likely to quit their problem, which is their alcohol, not their driving. Driving is always stressed that it's a privilege. But for some reason, drinking isn't. But driving is. You have the right to drink, the privilege to drive. When driving is way more of a necessity. Especially in areas like I live. You could not... My town, if you lived in my town and lost your license, you couldn't work anywhere and make more than $8 an hour. Anywhere. And I know that they should be punished because drunk driving is fucking terrible. But it just seems like the wrong kind of punishment to me. It seems like ineffective punishment. So is drunk driving, Darker. I think it's easier to stop people from buying alcohol than to stop people from driving without a license. Because the problem is when a guy drives without a license, he probably doesn't have insurance either. My state's a no-fault state. So if a man hits me who has no insurance and kills me, I have no one to fucking... nothing to worry about. But in other states where there's fault, you can be totally fucked. Because most of the people I know that don't have a license still drive. But he's still going to drive anyway, ambulance. I mean, if he's willing to break... If a person is willing to still buy alcohol when they're court-ordered not to buy alcohol... they're still going to drive when they're court-ordered not to drive. What are we debating here? I don't see the point. But I do see the fact that keeping people from driving ruins their life. Alright. You're distracting me, chat. I'm not getting things accomplished. Before that hat breaks, we want to make the pyrotatalator 4 wood. And I do bring up the topic because my dad got felony drunk driving. Total piece of shit. And I hate him for the drunk driving, don't get me wrong. I'm not supporting him. But he hadn't drank in 9 years. He had been sober for 9 years. He relapsed. I guess I'm going to call it relapse for lack of a better term right now. He relapsed. He drank once. He got a drunk driving. It was his 3rd. He was sober for 9 years. Lost his job, lost everything because he could not commute. It has been 16, no. Sorry. It has been 11 or 12 years since he lost his license, and he still doesn't have it back. And again, piece of shit, I know. But That seems like the wrong way to punish him. A great way to make a career criminal slash drunk. ZZZZZ, thank you for the 22 months in a row. I think we're about good to go. I agree with that statement, though, but you're discussing an accident. And I'm not saying that, like I said, I despise drunk driving. Trust me, the amount of shit I gave my father and still give my father to this day, I despise drunk driving. But I do feel that people deserve a second chance. Or sometimes even more than that. I have faith in humanity. I've seen recovery. I've grown up in recovery. Pretty much the only drug that people really struggle to get over is heroin, is the worst from my experience. But people do get better. And the court system makes it harder for them to get better. Makes it take longer for them to get better. Makes them more likely to cause more problems and put more people in harm's way. Because they continue to punish them in ways that keep them down. Not just punishment for the crime, but ways that continue to keep you down. I mean, now you've got the yearly fees for drunk driving you have to pay. And I get it. It's a shitty thing, but people fuck up. And it makes recovery so much harder when they are punished for, like my dad. I mean, 14 years he's been without a real license. He has a restricted license after 14 years. He's a 60-year-old man. And in order for him to try to get his license back, he has to go hire a lawyer, fight in court, and try to get his license back. Very likely he could have just kept drinking to deal with the suffering. Instead, we started a business from it. It turned into a great thing. Like, honestly, I'm not that... Oops, shit. I'm wasting so much time. You guys have me mad distracted now. It turned into a great thing. My dad's drunk driving was probably one of the greatest things that ever happened in my life because we started a business out of it. My dad couldn't drive, so we had to figure out a way to make money from home. So we started selling things on the internet. And that turned into our family business. My brother still works there. I worked there for 9 years. That job let me follow what I thought I wanted to do as a career for a long time before I started streaming on Twitch. That drunk driving turned into one of the greatest things ever, but still don't feel that the situation was handled in any way that makes sense to me, personally. Again, it's not something I'm like, oh my god, punch a wall over, but if we're discussing opinions. What do we sell? Motorcycle parts and accessories. It's a big reason I was able to stream on Twitch. Not only did the job that it led to have a great salary where I didn't have to go in so I could stream, it also is it's a fallback for me. If tomorrow I'm not making enough money to continue to survive as a streamer, I have a fallback that is something I would enjoy doing as well. So it really did turn out to be one of the greatest things that ever happened in my life, was my father getting that third drunk driving, but it very easily could have gone horribly, horribly wrong. And I feel like the amount of times it does greatly outweigh the amount of times it helps. And I know, money, money, money. Everybody in chat that's giving the right answer is money. The reason we don't help is because money. It costs too much. It costs too much. They pick up stuff. If you sell enough stuff, they'd pick it up. They mail, post office, UPS, FedEx, they pick it up. It's a business, a legitimate business. I mean, they do quite a bit. His no driving is until he chooses to go into court and fight it, which means hiring a lawyer and attempt to fight it and hope that the court thinks he has made up for his crimes. Another person in my family has a felony that they got at 22. She is almost 60. Hasn't had another felony since. I was gonna try to hide who it is. My mother. Sorry, Mom. But, okay, so how does this work? I've never actually tried to plug the hole. Apparently you can destroy these. Doesn't seem to be destroying it. My mother has a felony from when she was 20-some years old. My mom went to school to become a nurse. Little did she know the medical field really, really hates felons. And 40 years later, she still cannot get promoted. Cannot get anywhere in her career over something she did in her 20s. Pretty disgusting system in a lot of ways. Because the point of the punishment is to see the recovery, right? Right? Isn't that what we're saying? Isn't that why we're punishing them and not just popping them in the head? Is because we want to see them recover? But when we don't try in any way, shape, or form to help people recover, it's really, really disappointing. And probably one of the worst ones I have is a friend that I met via World of Warcraft that I'm pretty close with now, who has manslaughter charge. Spent time in Oklahoma State Penitentiary. Got out of prison. Went to work at McDonald's, tried to do the right thing, tried to get his life on track, went up for management at McDonald's. Is my mic dead yet? No. Went up for management at McDonald's, and they then looked into his background, saw he was a felon, and fired him. So now he just gets disability. Claims he has PTSD from prison, and just sits at home and gets disability. Great system. Great system. So that's my rant for the day on the law. And I wanted to be a cop. I legitimately wanted to be a police officer. That was my goal since I was a very young child. I wanted to be a police officer. I have a ton of respect for law enforcement. I have a ton of respect for a lot of things in the court system, but the punishments are forcing people's hands. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but It can be really, really, really hard to recover, and we want them to recover, right? Ludicrous. Ludicrous to me. Any funny jail stories? Nothing great. My favorite was the Egyptian guy that was in my cell that legitimately burned down his restaurant because he thought that's what insurance was for. And for a long time I thought he was just saying that to me because he was like afraid of like fucking up his excuse. But I actually had his lawyer was on the phone with him, and I heard him talking to his lawyer and screaming and yelling at his lawyer. Then what the fuck's the point of the insurance? Why did I pay for the fire insurance? That guy should be locked up. If you're that ignorant, you're dangerous to society. I think I'm good. I think we're good to go. I don't think I'm missing anything important now. I wanted to get the B box, but it's too late. Everything else is pre-built. Now it's what do we want to take with us? I'd like a fresh spear, a fresh football helmet, a fresh umbrella. Oh yeah, thumped. I mean, I was in jail with one of the guys who was in the cell with me was illegal immigrant from Mexico, and I didn't realize this, but he was spending a year in jail before being deported. That seems so weird to me. Getting paid every day to sit there in jail while we wait to deport him. Bird cage is ready. I'm good. Let's just load up on the usefulness or useful stuff. Done. Most of the people that were in there, like, it was, and that's really what changed my ideas. Like, I use my family because it's more personal and acceptable to you, but I mean that clearly is just ridiculous to me. There was a guy in there for child support because they would knock so much money off his child support that it made more sense for him financially to go to jail than to pay. It was cheaper. There was a guy in there who was going to prison for a year because he didn't want the same consequences of my father. He wanted... They told him a year in prison. He got his license back immediately when he got out, instead of my dad's situation where he was on parole or probation for 5 years and still without a license. I mean, a lot of the reasons people are in jail just silly. I was gonna go get something. I think we should just go. I don't really. I mean, I have like inventory space, but what do I even want out of it? I guess I could take this. This is worthless. So sewing kits are kind of annoying to make. Sandbags I don't need to take. I could make sure I have a full stack of gold. I'll make sure I have a legit stack of wood. I guess. Legit stack of flint. Close as I can on grass and sticks. My pig butts. I guess I can bring these honeycombs for the sake of it. I'd like my green gem. Purple gem. How do you do something illegal? Want to be the law's arm? I guess I'm realistic, bro. Like, I understand that people break the law and that they're not all evil human beings that need to be punished, whipped, and beaten. Like, I didn't see what I was doing as some super serious major offense that deserved insane punishment. I don't know. I guess I don't see why it's really relevant. I knew I was breaking the law. I was willing to accept any punishments that came down to me. I understand why people break the law, but I understand why there's laws. I guess maybe that sounds crazy, but to me it never bugged me, man. Yo, Tika, thank you for the 2 months in a row. I knew when I was doing it that it was a bad idea and I shouldn't be. I don't know. Yeah, I guess the best thing I can say is I didn't want to be a cop to arrest drug dealers. You know, casual fucking street drug dealers that are selling pot to their friends. No, I wanted to arrest actual criminals that actually bring things down. At the end of my drug dealing, when I got into selling things like crack and heroin, yes, I didn't like myself. I became greedy, and greed conquered everything. That's why I said earlier, if it weren't for the fact that I got arrested and I would have been streaming on Twitch at that time in my life, I would have done it for money and nothing but money. I wouldn't have cared about anything but making a fucking dollar. I was set on making money. So yeah, at that point, yes, I understand that conflicted. But originally, I started selling drugs. I sold pot to my friends. Like, it was... I mean, let's be honest. There's not very many people that think pot should be illegal anymore. I feel like I could grab something, but... there's nothing great here. Grim honesty. I find it's important to be honest with yourself. I really do. And sometimes being honest with yourself means being honest to strangers. It can definitely make you think about your life. You guys make me think all the time when you ask me questions and make me go, huh. You can't take the fishbone through now. I guess I'll take the peg leg. We'll call it a day. You've definitely changed my opinion multiple times. Chat has totally rocked my world many, many times. I'm always surprised at the topics you guys come up with and the way you guys make me think. Take some food now. Do I find myself ever becoming that greedy again? My daughter would be the only thing. Like, I do want my daughter to have a... I want to say better childhood than I did, but honestly, even with all the shit you've heard me talk about, all the negative things that happened, like, I enjoyed my childhood. Those times are amazing. But there are some things that I don't want my daughter to have to go through that I went through. Mother crying over bills, that kind of thing. Like, I just don't ever want to be in that situation. I don't ever want to have that happen. Can't afford for her to follow her dream, you know. Even if that dream is something as silly as playing video games. But I missed your donation, Cluster Muck. I didn't actually miss it. I just was in the middle of a story and totally got distracted. Enjoying the stream. Glad your family could find success from a tragedy. You're a chill dude. Good outlook on life. I try, man. I really do. I like life a lot. I know the smoking kind of makes it look like I don't, but I do. I'm very, very happy. There's things that suck, sure. But for the most part, I'm very, very blessed. Whatever you want to call it. I don't consider myself super religious or anything, but blessed always seems like a great term. I'm a good man. Not always. Not always. But I like to think that when I'm a scumbag, I realize it and I feel bad about it. Let's go. I try to make up for it. I try to fix what I did. So that puts us at 66 days, I think, roughly. 66, 67. Why can't... I thought you could swap your characters. Am I already saving for my daughter's studies? Every extra dollar I make, Master Toaster, is all in this in the goal of... Huh. I know that in previous